going back to a character for a second time, I mean, what challenges does that present for you as an actor, and does it give you a certain obligation to see Adonis' story through?
I think a sequel period, you just want to see characters and story evolve. So for me, just how do you raise the stakes without making it cheesy? You know what I'm saying? How do you keep things fresh and new and bring things different into the storylines? And I think we finessed it and did a good job at it.
How delighted were you with the scenario that this script that Sylvester and the other guys had brought to you, that it was more about family and about legacy and, you know, these two father-son stories?
I think it's the epitome of what Creed is and what we want to represent in this franchise moving forward, and being inspiring, being motivational, figuring out what you fight for, about family and all that good stuff. So it feels good, man. It's good. How you doing? Good seeing you, bro.
Yeah. What's it like, why is it so rare, the black love story in Hollywood, and it was a really strong vein in this movie?
I don't understand the question.
Black love story.
What about it?
It's very rare in Hollywood. Do you think that's something, that we would see a lot more of?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, you'll see more of it in the future. It's kind of tough to answer that one the way you want me to answer it.
What's it like praising the role of Adonis again this time?
It feels great, honestly, being able to evolve on these characters and these storylines and see Adonis grow into a man is something that I was looking forward to doing.
See, a lot of Drago's backstory happens off screen. I mean, did you kind of invent as to what happened between Rocky 4 and Rocky 5, or did Sly kind of give you some advice in that regard?
No, there's a little bit in the script. There's some clues, but I had to invent like his whole, what happened to him after he lost that fight, and how his life just spiraled out of control, and his wife left him, and he lost all the privileges he had in Russia and all his money, and now he's a poor man who lives in Ukraine with really nothing except his big son, who is a heavyweight, who is his way back to the limelight. So there were some other details that I worked on as well, and then I had to sort of find things in my own life to parallel his suffering, which I've suffered a lot too in this business and privately, and from sports injuries and rejection and things that, things I could use for this guy.
Thank you so much.
What's it like being part of the success of this franchise?
Well, I was part of it 33 years ago, but I didn't really realize what I was doing. I was a kid. But now it means more. It means more that people like my performance, they like the picture, and to work with Stallone again and to do something that people appreciate. It's like a 1-2 punch for me, and also to meet guys like Michael B. Jordan, who's such a talented young. Well, he's a big star, and he's a humble guy, and I think it's cool to see that, because there are not many people like that. They come every 5 years or so. There's somebody comes along that has the body and the charisma and the acting ability, and he has it. So it's cool to be part of that too. Thank you.
I mean, I can imagine it was daunting coming into a sequel of an established franchise, everything else. But what was it as a filmmaker yourself that you thought you could bring to the series?
I just want to elevate everything so far as emotion and intensity, man. I think for me, watching the last one, I think they did a great job at creating this new character, Adonis Creed. I felt like I can relate to him, and the character development was insane. And so going on to the next project, it's like I think I can bring him to another stage in his life that felt gradual and organic enough, that wasn't too far of a leap, that still felt like in the same vein in that world. And then on top of that, add my own spin on it, man, elevate everything, make it more emotional. How difficult was it to balance the boxing stuff with all the family stuff? Because there's so much going on. It's quite a complex story. No, it's tough to balance both the boxing and the outside the ring stuff, especially when you're dealing with two corners this time. I just wasn't telling Adonis Creed side. I was telling the Drago side. I was telling, Phylicia Rashad side and everyone. So it was tough trying to bring all the stories together. But at the end of the day, when you kind of hold it under one umbrella, which is family, it felt organic enough, I will say.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, guys. Hey, good to see you again.
Hi. And what parts of the movies resonate most with you, would you say?
Ooh, good question. I'm going to give you two parts. One was the ending, without spoiling it for anybody, with Sly and when he shows up at someone's door. That was very emotional to me because I connected with my own father, and that kind of happened subconsciously. Without knowing, I felt that way the first time at the premiere. And then I would have to say the relationship with Adonis Creed and Bianca. I feel like I definitely relate to that.
It's an amazing year, and who would have thought that Ludmilla still existed 32 years after the first one? So quite amazing. Very emotional first day on set because half of the cast was the same as in Rocky 4. So it's amazing. Had a baby 5 months ago, so 2018 has brought a lot of wonderful stuff. It's a lovely movie. Steven did an incredible job. I want to say he's a very generous director, and he pays a lot of attention to detail. Even to people like me that just has a small cameo, but fantastic. It's a great movie. You should all go see it.
So excited. I'm excited that fans love us here. This franchise has been such an enduring one for the last over 4 decades, and it's such a pleasure to get to play this character and to work with people that I truly love. I think initially we were a bit trepidatious because we didn't have Ryan Coogler, who was, of course, the writer-director of the first one, but once we found Stephen Caple Jr., who's just the perfect filmmaker for this, next installment of the franchise, we were solid, and it felt just like stepping back into something that we know and love so much. Well, she's continuing to make her music. She's evolved since the first film. They're beginning a family, which I think makes the stakes even higher this time around. I think for me, the challenge of Bianca is always the music. In the first Creed, we literally hear her before we see her. Music is everything to her, so creating those original songs, that's the challenge, but I love to do things that scare me, and it's just a gift to get to do it. It's really, I think when the Rocky films really sing is when they're films just about people and the backdrop is boxing, so this film is really solidly about family, about the things that bind us together, whether it's your chosen family and your friends, your mentors, or whether it's the family that you're born into. Michael is my family at this point, and he kind of was since the beginning. When we first met each other, we just had instant sort of like companionship, so it just feels like getting together with an old friend, and same with Sly.
I'm very excited. London gave me a lot of love, and it's my first time actually here, and I'm a big soccer fan, football fan, my own, and I love being here, so let's see what the night brings. Obviously it's the biggest role of my life so far, so I was very excited because I'm a big fan of the franchise, and I knew that I can't give less than 200% in order, to please everyone, and especially please myself, because I have, I want a lot of myself, right? So there were a lot of doubts coming into this franchise, but I think the people are gonna like it. I think so. Well, Viktor is a different character now, okay? So it's no Rocky 4 2.0 anymore. Creed has its own DNA, and so is Viktor. Viktor is not his father, and that's basically the difference here. So Viktor's fighting for family, for love, for loyalty, and doesn't care about belts or money or fame, and that's why I think that people are gonna like him a lot. Most challenging, for sure, that I had to play this role with a lot of emotions, a lot of heart. Usually I'm used to be the big guy, the tough guy, so being angry, smashing weights around is easy for me, but open my heart and let loose and kind of be able to cry, that was a tough process here, and it made me grow, not only as an actor but as a person in general. So a lot. Mike is unbelievable. He's a hard worker, very dedicated, and I was learning a lot from him, and I think that the fight scenes are pretty realistic. I think they're pretty dope. So boxing is secondary in this movie. So it's, like I said before, it's a lot about family and loyalty, and you don't have to be a boxing fan. I think everyone can relate to this kind of movie. And I think, after you're gonna see the movie, you're gonna take out your cell phone and call the people that you love and just tell them that you love them. So.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey You Guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey